So, you're down with you two, huh?
Yeah, the other guy had to go.
Okay. Well, we're here. We thought we'd come by for a little bit.
Okay, well, we appreciate
Or shortly. Just, I'm sure it's disturbing for them.
You like my sign?
What's that? Why did you? I like that.
That's great.
Have you gotten an answer?
That's great.
No. Uh-oh.
I did Jim Little name.
If you
want to know why I left, it's all on the blog site, but I've been in Scientology
We'll let them know so they can see.
for 22 years.
You mind telling us briefly? You mind telling us your story briefly?
I was in Scientology 22 years. I originally started out in San Jose, California. Read Dianetics. It's funny, in the first week I was out in San Jose, this was back in 1989, 90, no, more like 1990, 91, something like that. And did a little Dianetics seminar. I was regged to borrow money from a guy I didn't know for about $1,200. Did the purification program, and then shortly after I completed that, they had 2 Sea Org recruiters there, and I wasn't familiar with it all then. And they basically kept me, and I didn't think it was unusual. I thought they really wanted me to just join the Sea Org. And let's see, I didn't join it actually, but they kept me there at the org till, I know, it was after midnight, close to 1 a.m. And I figured the only way to get out of there was just sign the billion-year contract, and it was a billion-year contract. So I signed it, and once they had me cash in my life insurance policy that I had with the military to pay off all my debts.
For courses?
What's that?
For courses?
What's that?
For courses?
That's no life debts. You have to pay off all your life debts before you can.
Yeah, you have to be debt free because if you have any, freeloader debts.
Okay.
Whatever. I didn't know what that was at the time, but yeah, I paid everything off because I didn't want you to have any debts. I really didn't have that much. Sold my encyclopedias, and I had this one girl. Of course, she was nice to me, and she was making sure that I got everything handled. But after I signed that agreement, I also had somebody who was at the Stevens Creek. It was called the Stevens Creek Org. Actually, one guy told me I shouldn't join, which I thought was kind of good, but he ended up getting in trouble later, and I can't remember. His name was Ralph, I think. And so after I signed that, them two actually had to go back to Flag. And I decided I really didn't want to go. I stopped taking their phone calls and just kind of waited for them to leave. And then it was probably about a month later I moved back to St. Louis. But when I came back to St. Louis, one of the first things I did was called the St. Louis Org when it was over on Page. And I went in there and actually tried to join staff at that time. But when I got my first paycheck for, I think after taxes, it was $7.95. Just didn't work out because I had a car payment. It was like $150. So I tried that for like 3 or 4 weeks. Ended up, I think I just blew. I just left and moved back up to where I normally live at, around Hannibal, Missouri. And then I ended up coming back down, and on and off throughout the years, I did TRs and objectives, and TRs and objectives, student hat, where you learn how to study and everything. But just moving forward, off and on, been public mostly, and luckily for me, I did not give the organization tens of thousands of dollars. Luckily for me, I say in the course of 22 years, is maybe 2,000, 3,000, I don't really know, off and on, because I'd have been furious knowing what I've learned. what happened probably was last year when CNN did the history of violence. My wife and I decided we wanted to watch the show to see what our representatives had to say at the church. Mm-hmm. Now, mind you, I didn't even know who Tommy Davis was before that, because you have to realize in 22 years, you have to think with the policy, because it's kind of, you get accepted more if you go along with what they like for you to do. You know, if you're in a group and you start talking a certain way and the group really is like, man, I'm glad you're talking that way, you know, you feel, oh gosh, this is the right thing to do. So if you quote policy, talk with policy, do what the policy says, everything's fine. Don't look at the internet, because you might see some of that confidential information that'll make you sick and everything, and that really comes from just one, I think one.
I don't know where that came from.
Ron's Journal 67, when he says he researched the upper bands, made it through OT3, and he almost lost his body and got real sick, but he doesn't really come out and say that it'll kill you. So I'm not sure. He just says he's the only one that gotten through it, so it's kind of a vague thing. Mm-hmm. But anyway, back to Tommy Davis, when he said there's no such thing as a disconnection policy. And after 22 years of being in Scientology, you know absolutely there's a disconnection policy. Mm-hmm. I didn't even know there was a fair game policy until I got declared, which I did get declared, by the way. And they didn't have enough information on any one of us to fill up one declare. So it was a suppressive people declare, which was kind of different because they had 3 of us on there.
Mm-hmm. For all of our things together.
For all of our things together.
Page and a half.
For your mom and for your daughter?
Right, we were all on there in one sheet. Mm-hmm. So I thought it was very unusual. And, you know, there was truth in it, mostly lies, made up stuff. Just, I mean, you'd have to read it. You can go online. I got a WordPress blog, and it's just littledoubt.wordpress.com. So Little Doubt. We have no doubt now, but right then now there's very little doubt. But Tommy Davis lied, and me and my wife basically looked at each other and went, wow. I mean, if you would have said, yeah, we have a disconnection policy, because we always thought, yeah, disconnection policy means that if somebody's upsetting you or talking bad about what you don't want to hear, you just wouldn't associate with them. But that should be a person's choice anyway, on anything. And a church or an organization shouldn't be telling you what to think anyway. Mm-hmm. And we started looking, and just kind of blew us away, because we kept it to ourselves for months and months, just me and my wife, and just started reading more and more into the corruption that's going on at IntBase and David Miscavige.
But you were on course at this time?
No. We kind of backed away and made excuses. Our daughter was still on staff at the time, and we just kept saying, no, we don't want to go into events, and you know, we're busy, blah, blah, blah. Because
they almost kicked me off staff because I went and did the Sea Org, like you said, twice. And they said, oh, well, you can't just come back and go, so you're not going to be on staff anyway.
Yeah, she had an experience at the Sea Org, which was insane. It goes right along with everything else. It's just insanity. And Scientology is supposed to be the only technology to help, the only technology to flourish and prosper, and all this other stuff. And if that's the case, then how did Microsoft make it? You know, how did Walmart make it? How did all these other places that are very successful make it? Yet they haven't made it. Mm-hmm. This place hasn't made it in 22 years I've been involved with it here locally.
That's all staff cars.
Yeah, mostly probably staff over there. And it's been the same. There's always been excuses. When David Miscavige says we're going to release this is the thing that's really going to shoot us over the top. Of course, I had to go back and remember all the times I've been to events, and every time they said, this is it. This is the thing that's going to blow us out through the roof, and everybody's going to love it. And
so did you guys consider yourselves hardcore Scientologists then?
Yeah, we were very dedicated. We heck,
I worked here 60 hours a week for $30.
yeah. So you started, volunteered at 13.
I joined staff when I was 14.
14, and you worked.
Obviously, I was a little bit
You worked
dedicated.
40 hours, child labor law, stuff like that, but
Mhm.
it was all justified.
Yeah.
We justify a lot of
Greater
things.
cause.
Yeah, since you're the only ones that can help.
Do you think a lot of people in there, because they've dedicated so much, are just kind of afraid to look at their dads and like,
Absolutely.
If this is all fake, then what have I been doing with my life this past, however long?
Here's what's really neat. It's sprinkled with truth.
It is.
And the first bite tastes really good. And you do some of these lower level basic, I wouldn't say it's anything that LRH or L. Ron Hubbard created. It was just basic truths that were, he repackaged and went, and in the beginning stuff, lower level stuff, you can get some good out of that. I mean, some pretty good stuff. Go beyond that, it's a smorgasbord of bullshit, I think. And it's just horrible. It's a delicious cookie on the outside with your favorite icing and everything, and you're licking on it and tasting it, and it's only till you've gotten family and friends involved that it's really hard, because you got this interwoven web and friendships you made, and it's only friendships with Scientologists. I mean, we got out after 22 years, and you know how many friends talk to us anymore? 0. 22 years, gosh, we're your best friend. 0. And the thing is, there are some good folks in there. They're completely duped.
They don't know.
They're not allowed to look. If they look, they get their little SP declare.
And they just don't know.
It's the same thing, and I feel sorry for them, and I thought, they'd look, but they won't look. Absolutely won't look. And we had some really good friends. Well, we thought were really good friends, and they're not.
Lifelong friends.
And it's because they're scared. They're absolutely scared, because you get so interwoven in there, and they got so much control. Because like my stepson, he's in there. When we left, we told him it was his choice; he could stay. But when your regular job is with a Scientologist, your girlfriend's a Scientologist whose father works there on staff, he's in a rock and a hard place. If he steps out, he loses his girlfriend he cares about, he loses his job he cares about, and he probably loses almost all of his friends he's ever had.
But he chose his family instead. He lost his family.
He chose, he basically came over and said, I'm using my personal integrity. And if anybody's ever read the quote on personal integrity, you realize that you're supposed to be able to observe and decide for yourself. It's all such a farce. They say they care about human rights. They don't care about human rights. And it's just
People might, but the church isn't about that anymore.
it's just not about it.
The church, Scientology, I'm okay with Scientology. I'm not okay with the church.
Yeah, the church is corrupt, and it's David Miscavige now, but I still haven't worked it out as far as L. Ron Hubbard. I don't think. I think he started out good, but probably got consumed with it. Power corrupts. It can absolutely corrupt, and it is what it is. I mean, he wrote some policies that you look at it and go, that's wrong, absolutely wrong. So you just got to look at it, be unbiased, and realize that he went off the deep end towards the end. I think, personally. Can you get some good out of things? Yeah, maybe. But don't get involved with the organization. Absolutely not. Don't put your money in it. Don't put your family in it. I was involved 22 years, and it's completely corrupt. I don't think it's going to change. Absolutely won't change. Even if David Miscavige gets dethroned, you'll have martyrs. You'll have people going, "Oh my God, I can't believe." When Adolf Hitler killed himself, there were still people going, "Oh my God, my Savior." Same thing's going to happen with David Miscavige. The actual organization it won't change.